So, Hare Krishna. Um, so we'll start the class, and before starting the class, Gokul Bhajan Nilobu would like to sing a bhajan, Gauranga bhajan. So let me put this. Okay, Hare Krishna Damodar Das, you can unmute and go ahead and sing the song bhajan. Can you unmute Damodar Das?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I can hear you. You can go ahead and sing.
Gauranga Avatara Mahaprabhu Kaliyuga Varadara Gauranga Avatara Mahaprabhu Kaliyuga Varadara Gauranga Aurangavatar Yoga Varadara Gaurangavatar Yoga Varadara Shaktikanaya Kentaya Deva Yandira Subhana Swana Dea Shaktikanaya Kentaya Deva Yandira Subhana Swana Dea Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Kaliyoga Varadara Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Kaliyoga Varadara Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Kaliyoga Varadara Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Yoga Varada Radha Krishna Sangata Rupa Rasa Baba Prema Swarupa Radha Krishna Sangata Rupa Rasa Baba Prema Swarupa Radha Krishna Sangata Rupa Rasaka Baba Prema Swarupa Radha Krishna Samgata Rupa Rasaka Baba Prema Swarupa Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Kali Yoga Varadara Gauranga Avatara Prabhu Kali Yoga Varadara Govinda Nama Krita Namona Talatama Govinda Nama Krita Namona Gauranga Avatara Gopale Yoga Valadara Gauranga Avatara Gopale Yoga Valadara Gauranga Avatara Gopale Yoga Valadara Gauranga Avatara Kale Yoga Varadara Goranga, 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 Nitai Goranga, Jai Jai Goranga, 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 Jayo Jayo Goranga, 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 Nitai Goranga, Jayo Jayo Goranga, 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 Nitai Goranga. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, Gurudev, Jayo Gurudev, 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 Vela Guru, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Swami Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Goranga, 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 Nitai Goranga, Goranga.
Thank you, Damodar Das. So next we'll go to Jaya Radha Madhava by Radha Premadasi. So Radha Premadasi.
हरे कृष्ण दंडा प्रणाम माता जी
Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण दंडा प्रणाम माता जी
Dandavat Pranams.
कुंद विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंद विहारी जय गोपीधन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीधन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुन्द विहारे जय राधा माधव कुन्द विहारे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण दंडा प्रणाम माता जी
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you, Radha Premadasi. So we'll start the class. Before we start, I wanted to offer my obeisances to my Gurudev. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Bhaktya Vihina Aparadalakshya क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्. I offer my Koti Koti Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of my Guruji and Koti Koti Dandavat Pranams at the lotus feet of Gurudev, Srila Gurudev, and I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, we'll continue the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and almost we are coming to the end, and then this class I think will be done with Bhagavad Gita. So last week we talked about few stories which real time happened about how Krishna takes care of his devotees and how we should have firm determination. Like the Brahmana who was like doing the worship of Salagram every day at 4 o'clock, no matter what difficulties he faced. So that's exactly how we have to have a strong determination for our bhajana and real spiritual hunger. And we also saw how that small boy with great love and sincerity was offering Naivedyam to Lord Krishna. So we should have that kind of sentiment of love and sincerity in our chanting the mantra. And also we saw another story how a Brahmana was not believing of what Krishna wrote in his Bhagavad Gita, Ananya Chintayo Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Mahamyaham. So he didn't want to have Krishna do any of his work, and then he felt like it was not spoken by Krishna, and then Lord Krishna proved that it was written and then told by Krishna. And so the conclusion is, if we have praying towards Krishna, he would do everything possible. We should do everything possible and not letting Bhagavan take care of or take that pain of taking care of us. But definitely, if in need, Krishna will take care of us. So the next one we have that in Shloka Manmana Bhava Badbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Madhyaji, that we were like Banmana Bhava, and Madbhakto, to become a devotee and to absorb our mind in Krishna. We have discussed about that. And then Madhyaji is the worshipping Krishna. So Krishna says, like, if you cannot keep or do Manmana Bhava or Mad Bhakto or become my devotee, at least do my puja or archan. And if one has not developed any real love for Bhagavan, but has just a little bit faith, he can at least perform puja. And this is a remedy for material entanglement. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, there's a verse saying that, like, I don't want to go with the words, but the verse says that the deity may be worshipped with 16 kinds of paraphernalia, or with 12 kinds or 5 kinds. But if there is no love in worshipping Bhagavan, he will be never satisfied. So, for example, when we are hungry or thirsty, that's when the food is tasteful, and the water, we really feel the importance of water. And food will only be tasteful to the degree of the hunger. So if we are not hungry, even if someone serves such a nice prasadam, we wouldn't have that taste, or we would try to find out some defects. Maybe it's salty, it's more sweet, and things like that. So similarly, if a devotee has no love in worship of Bhagavan, then Bhagavan will not be hungry, and he will not be satisfied by that devotee's worship. So Bhagavan, he is not in need of anything from anyone, because he is self-sufficient. Atma Rama, he is Satchitananda. So Bhagavan is made hungry only and only by devotees' love, that is prema. And whether there is like 16 kinds of paraphernalia used or only one kind, he will accept it as long as there is some prema. So in this verse, patram pushpam phalam thoyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti upahratam asnami prayatatmana. So in this one, Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion, even a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or some water, I will accept it. Without the basic principle of love or bhakti for Krishna, nothing can induce the Lord to agree and accept anything from anyone. So we came finally to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So, manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskurum mame vyasyasi satyam te pratignya priyosime. So, finally, now all these four things of absorbing our mind, becoming a devotee, worshipping, and finally offer obeisances to me. So now all the four activities described in this verse have become one when we do the obeisances or offering obeisances, meaning that Atma Nivedana or Sharanagati with great faith, sentiment and love. And what we have seen from the stories, what we have gone through the stories in previous classes. So finally, sincerely following all the limbs of bhakti and then offering ourselves by offering the obeisances to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, then everything will be one. So if we follow this verse, we'll surely develop unconditional love at the lotus feet of Krishna. And this is the most secret instruction of all in Bhagavad Gita. And this is the most hidden treasure and supreme instruction. So, if we do like this, by following this shloka, we can cross the ocean of material existence and one will never ever enter the cycle of birth and death. So the conclusion is exclusive surrender to Krishna. So then Arjuna finally said that I cannot do manmana bhava, madbhakto, madhyaji in the war field. All I can do is obeisances. So if you say finally at least offer obeisances to you, then I offer obeisances to you not once, but millions of times. So another important shloka in Bhagavad Gita is Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshasyami Ma Sucha. So Krishna himself is saying that abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me, and I shall deliver you from all the sinful reactions. And this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So only 2 shlokas are the ones that we need to know, take from this essence of Bhagavad Gita. And what else we need proof? Krishna himself is saying, Sarvadharman Parityajya. So the Lord has described various kinds of knowledge, like, starting with, we discussed about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Paramatma Jnana, all these things. And finally, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that, Arjuna, you should give up all the process that have been explained to you. You should simply surrender to the lotus feet, onto the lotus feet. And that surrender will save us from all kinds of sinful reactions. And this, the Lord personally promised us that He will protect us. So this verse finally tells us the Sharanagati. So Manmana Bhava Madbhakto is the fruit of this Sharanagati, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. And this is the topmost Upanishad. So Veda and Upanishad are endless, and it is so complicated for normal people that you cannot come to a conclusion. But Krishna has made us understand by giving this Bhagavad Gita like an ocean. And He made our life so easy. We don't have to study any of the Shastras or Upanishads, because all the essence of Upanishad, all the Upanishads and Shastras is in this Gita. And again, it depends upon people, depending upon their adhikar, what they want to take, the instructions, what they want to take is up to their adhikar. So, like, there are two kinds of people, as we talked. One are like, they just take the superficial instructions, what Lord Krishna has initially taught to Arjuna. Those are the things that they do, karma, jnana, and paramatma jnana. But others who really have gotten the knowledge from a bona fide guru, they will get this deep, secret instructions. So finally the conclusion is, from the bona fide guru's teachings, instructions, and continued sadhu sangha, we realize Manmana Bhava Madbhakto and Sarva Dharman Parityajya. And finally to surrender to the lotus feet of Bhagavan. So now, after going through the essence of Bhagavad Gita, we have established a solid foundation in order to understand the next level, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam, which tells us how to develop Krishna Prem. So, therefore, the beginning book is Bhagavad Gita. For all of us, we should never disrespect Gita in any way. And the instructions in it should serve as a foundation for our life, which we will construct a palace of bhakti, wherein we perform the worship of Sri Radha Krishna Yugala. So now we have concluded the essence of Bhagavad Gita. At least we know finally what is our goal, which is the Krishna Prem. And our topmost dharma is Krishna Prem. So, as I said, the topmost dharma, after going through all the instructions in Bhagavad Gita, it said that leave all the dharma. As we just saw, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. And then the fruit is Manmana Bhava Madbhakto. And the Bhagavatam teaches how to get Krishna Prem. So our dharma is Prem, Krishna Prem, love is everything. For example, in our life, if we take our Prem, like towards our children, towards our, Bhagavan, towards anything, if we take that Prem out of our life is zero. So, in this world, many people have wealth, have everything, but still they are not peaceful. Because who are surrendered to Guru, they know that the only way to be peaceful and happy is we need bhakti and Krishna Prem. Then automatically, once you have bhakti and Krishna Prem, then automatically the prem and bhav will be there towards everyone, all the jivas. So by nature, every jiva has prem. But unfortunately, we all are directing to the wealth, to our wife, our husbands, our children. But as I said, like if we put this bhakti or prem at the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna, we'll be happy eternally. So we have to understand that prema, Krishna prema, is our dharma. And other name for Krishna prema is happiness or ananda. So if our prem towards Krishna is centralized, then it can be distributed to everyone. So like last week, I think I told that this example, like, you know, if we give a sweet to a child, he will eat it all. But as opposed to that, if we give it to a mother, she will distribute. And that is how exactly Guru and Krishna are. So from this verse, one of the verse we touched, Savai Pumsa Paro Dharma Yato Bhaktir Adokshaje Ahaituki Apratihata Yayayatma Suprasidati. So in this verse, our Param Dharma topmost is bhakti towards Krishna. How? Which kind of bhakti? Ahaituki. That means causeless, without any reason. And then apratihata means unbroken, causeless bhakti towards Krishna. That is Adokshaja. Who is Adokshaja? It's Lord Krishna. So, what is bhakti? Exactly, we are talking about Krishna Prem Bhakti. This is described as in one of the I think Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It said like Sapara Anurakti Ishwari, meaning that causeless prema towards Bhagavan in a way that we are completely merging in Bhagavan's service. And that is Uttama Bhakti. And we say this verse many times. Anyabhilashitas shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhakti ruttama. And how this Uttama Bhakti, which is favorable, continuous flowing service that is favorable and not even a tinge of jnana and karma, is the Uttama Bhakti. All the endeavors by body, mind, speech, continuous service without any tinge and favorable to Krishna. So I think we touched a little bit on the Uttama Bhakti about Yashoda, how she chastises Krishna and he's crying and she's not letting him into her lap because she's like trying to correct him because he's naughty and he's crying, but still it is favorable, as opposed to Chanura and Mushtika in Kamsa's arena when they were like trying to fight. Krishna is all excited and he's happy, but it is not favorable to Krishna. So this is what the Uttama Bhakti is. This is Uttama Bhakti in the sense like which is favorable, not like, you know, which is favorable without any tinge of jnana or karma, and not to harm like as Chanura or Mushtika. So Yashoda, even that Krishna is crying, but still that is favorable to Krishna without any tinge of jnana or karma. So in order to establish the truth about who is Supreme Personality, obviously we know that Krishna is the personality of Godhead, But how Krishna is controlled? As we talked, only by prema. Because Krishna is ocean of prema. He's ocean of complete ocean. He's Shyama Sindhu. And that is why Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. And he said that Krishna leelas and pastimes are infinite. And even it said that someone can even count the grains of the dust in the whole universe, but we can't count the pastimes of Krishna. Even Brahma with his 4 heads can finish the glories, pastimes of Krishna. And in Vraja, Krishna is not Bhagavan. He's a Prem Swarup. As opposed to in Vaikunta, where Krishna's Tadrupa Vaibhava or Vilasa Rupa is Narayana. And he's the ocean of opulence. And then when we go up to Dwaraka, the opulence is much more than Vaikunta. And when we go to Vraja, the opulence is much, much more than Dwaraka. But as opposed to opulence, the prema is much, much more. So, for example, prema, if we compare prema as like a ocean, like Pacific Ocean, and opulence is like top, like Himalayas. You know, Himalayas, if you put Himalaya in the Pacific Ocean, it is just like a grain. So that is how we can compare how much prema is there in Vraja. So in Vraja, opulence is much, much more than Dwaraka or Vaikunta, but at the same time, prema is so much that you cannot see the opulence at all. There, Krishna is all controlled by prema. And the prema is the one that makes Radha Krishna dance. And in Vraja, Krishna is not supreme. Krishna prema is the supreme. And Krishna prema is our ultimate goal. If we don't have this prema, there is no way we can serve Radha Krishna. So in order to describe this purest form of bhakti by which we can get Krishna prem, I just want to talk about different kinds of bhakti. And that way, at least we will know what is actual pure bhakti. So usually the bhakti is divided into 3 types. One is Arupa Siddha Bhakti. The other one is Sangha Siddha Bhakti. And the other one is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. So Arupa Siddha Bhakti. So what is Arupa Siddha Bhakti? That is the activities which we think is bhakti, but it is not consisting of pure bhakti. Like karma yoga, like we do, like the fruits of karma we offer, that is how we think it is bhakti, but actually it is not. It's kind of like, mixed, adulterated bhakti. And the second one is Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So the endeavors that are associated with or like favorable to the development of bhakti, but are not in and themselves purely composed of bhakti. And the next one is Swarupa Siddha Bhakti, which is like, it is the endeavors that we purely is related to Krishna. That is the Uttama Bhakti. That is the Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. So I would describe a little bit of Arupa Siddha and all these bhaktis, so that way we'll have the clear idea. So coming to Arupa Siddha Bhakti, which is also called Karma Mishra Bhakti or Sakama Bhakti. So Sakama Bhakti, meaning that the bhakti that we are doing with some of the material desire, kama, Sakama. So this bhakti is mixed with karma or desires for material enjoyment. So for example, like Dhruva Maharaj, and then I'll talk about Dhruva Maharaj a little bit more when we talk about bhaktas in the next class, hopefully. So like Dhruva Maharaj at the age of 6 years, because his stepmother didn't allow him to get onto the lap of his father, Uttanapada, so he got so upset that he went to his mother and then talked about, like, I want a different kingdom. So his mother instructed, and then fortunately he got darshan of Narada, and that's how he was praying endeavors that are, like, indirectly attributed with the quality of bhakti, the way that he was praying Lord Krishna in order to get kingdom for himself. So this is the example, like, of Karma Mishra Bhakti or Arupa Siddha Bhakti, that you are thinking that it is bhakti and you are praying to Bhagavan, but you have a material desire that you want to achieve and you want that blessing from Bhagavan. So for example, a child is using father's wealth and buys a gift and then give it to the father and says, like, I got a gift for you. But how is it a gift that a child gave it to the father? Because he is using his father's wealth to buy that gift and giving it. So this is exactly similar to this kind of Arupa Siddha Bhakti. Like, many people, they give some money, like maybe few hundreds, and then ask for millions of dollars for their personal gain. So this is not bhakti. So without the assistance of bhakti, karma cannot yield any fruit, and that is why Krishna said in this karma yoga, at least do something that, the fruit to Krishna. So at least there is little bit of bhakti. Eventually that goes to, leads to pure bhakti. So although, sorry. So although the activities, so therefore the endeavors that we are doing in this, as like Dhruva Maharaj, is like Arupa Siddha Bhakti, projecting as bhakti, but it's not bhakti. And if devotional activities are performed and those results are offered to Bhagavan afterwards, that is what Dhruva Maharaj has done, and this is the devotion mixed with personal desire. So I'll give another example. Like, if a small boy sitting on the lap of his father and then eating from the plate what is offered there, and then when the boy sees some food, he puts that food into his mouth and maybe some into the mouth of his father. And the father is pleased. Why? Because the boy is fully dependent on him. And even if he punishes that boy, the boy would never leave him. So in order to develop a relationship like this boy with the father, like this with Bhagavan, we first offer everything to our Guru. Because in our present condition, he is the Bhagavan Swarupa. He is the Bhagavan Kripa Murti. Without his mercy, we cannot achieve, we cannot reach Bhagavan. So, as said in the shloka, Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir, Yata Deve Tata Guru, Tasyate Katita He Artha, Prakashante Mahatmana. So it's said in this Shveteshwara Upanishad that Guru is Krishna Kripa Murti and Pratyaksha Bhagavan. He is the Bhagavan, direct representation of Bhagavan. So only when we develop a direct relationship with Bhagavan, then we don't have to do this, offering this karma and the fruit, like to offer something in order to get something. So we don't have to do anything, because if we do service and if you offer everything to Guru, then there is no necessity for any of the formal offerings. And the next bhakti, which is Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So the endeavors associated with or favorable to the cultivation of bhakti. So these are like the assistants to bhakti. So for example, we say that one should have this compassion for others, friendliness, offering respect to others, austerity, cleanliness, tolerance. We should study Vedas, simplicity, celibacy. All these things are not by nature purely constituted of bhakti. These are all assistants to bhakti. They are considered to be like associates or parikars of bhakti. So, for example, if Bhagavad Bhakti is removed from all these 26 qualities or of compassion, celibacy, non-violence, and all these things, then this has no direct relationship with Bhagavan. So, like for example, in Shishtastakam, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Ananida Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So if you take that Kirtaniya Sadahari from that shloka, then whatever the Trinadapi, being humble, being meek, being compassionate, is not going to help us with bhakti if we don't have that Kirtaniya Sadahari. So that's exactly what is Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So like example, like here, Shibi Maharaj, who was known for his immense kindness and commitment to protect all the living beings. He was so compassionate. So one time, Lord Indra and Agni wanted to try how much compassionate he is. So they both disguised as one as hawk, Indra, and then other one, Agni, as dove. And then they came here. The dove flew into the king's lap in the palace, seeking refuge from the hawk. And then Shibi Maharaj said that, it's my duty, since you came to my shelter, and it is my duty to protect you. Then when the hawk came and hawk demanded the dove as his meal, and hawk said that I would starve otherwise. So the king, bound by his promise of protecting this dove, he said, like, I will offer my own flesh instead in order to protect this dove. So the hawk agreed, saying that if this flesh is equal to the dove's weight, then I will take your flesh. So finally, King Shibi, as you can see in this slide, he used a balance scale, placing the dove on one side, and he was like cutting his flesh from his own leg, and then finally he could not balance that, and still wasn't being balanced. Finally he himself sat on that one side of the balance, so that he's offering himself to the hawk. So the hawk and the dove, obviously they are Agni and Indra, moved by his unwavering compassion and truthfulness, they revealed themselves, and then they restored Shibi Maharaj's body, and praising him about his compassion and virtue, as an example for all over the universe. So this emphasizes the profound virtue of compassion, selflessness, and truthfulness, demonstrating the highest form of dharma. But actually, this is not the topmost dharma because it has no bhakti. So the qualities automatically come of all these 26 qualities that a Vaishnava has to have when you have pure bhakti, but not vice versa. But meaning that if you have all these qualities and no bhakti, then that is not useful, and then bhakti will not come like that. But as opposed to if you have bhakti, automatically all these qualities would come to you. So the Arupa Siddha Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti, they are not true pure bhakti. This is like an external bhakti, not pure bhakti. And the next one is the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. That is the Uttama Bhakti and pure bhakti, which is the all favorable endeavors such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, all these towards Krishna. And in other words, as Guruji mentioned yesterday in Bhajana Katha, Sarvasva Tomar, we have to do all these endeavors of the body, mind and words that are related to Sri Krishna and that are performed exclusively and directly for the pleasure without any intervention. And this is the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. This is what is the purest form of bhakti, and this is what we need to have in order to reach Krishna. Reach Krishna. And this bhakti is freed of all the coverings of jnana, karma. So, example, Arjuna did war not for acquiring kingdom, but Krishna told him to do so. Similarly, Vrajavasis do everything for Krishna with complete surrender and truly connecting with Krishna. Whatever they do, it is for the happiness for Krishna. All they think is about Krishna, not for any gain. All the karma, atma, everything, they put everything for Krishna. They always think about Krishna. And he's the one who takes care of them. That is why his name Govinda. Go meaning cows. He takes care of cows. Go means gopas. Go means gopi. Go means gopas, and then all the things, everything in Vraja. He's the one who takes care of. And they think that Krishna as their friend, as their master, like. And then as like Sakya, as Vatsalya, as Yashoda and Nand Baba and other elderly gopis, and then Madhurya as like their paramour, like gopis. They offer everything completely for Lord's happiness. So for us, it is difficult. And we have to really process and go through this process in order to reach that Uttama Bhakti. So initially, if we can't put our mind in Krishna, then we have to bring that mind by continuously hearing Harikatha, being in Sadhu Sangha, doing Smarana, Kirtana, and always performing puja. And by continuous practice of our heart and mind, even if we don't feel, but still we need to do. Even if we don't want to listen, still continue to do. And with continued doing of chanting, smarana, kirtana, without our knowledge, we'll be at the Uttama stage. And initially, I know it is hard, we all are in this process, but if we can do that also in the initial stages, then do for Bhagavan something like doing service in the temple, whatever the flowers, gardening for Krishna, as like in Karma Yoga. Then doing this karma, it will bring our mind to Bhagavan. And you do all this for Krishna, then eventually our mind will get into Krishna. Like yat karosi, yat yatasnasi, do everything for me. This is karma, but little bit of bhakti, but still do. So as we discussed in Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga, yat karosi, whatever you do, yat asnasi, whatever you eat, yat juhosi, whatever you offer, dadasi, yat, whatever you give, so that whatever austerities you do does an offering to me, then bhakti will surely develop. And we follow the Ekadashi. Like, for karmis, they follow for some material gain. But for pure Krishna bhaktas, or who are in the under guru, a bona fide guru, we do for pure bhakti. So, like gopis, who always think about Krishna, cook for Krishna, do their makeup for Krishna, this is not possible for us. But, in this process of doing things and surrendering ourselves, our goal is at least to reach to their lotus dust of gopis in order to have that mood of service. So once at least we have that mood, then once we are up to that bhakti, at least we will think that when we cook for Krishna. And then this way we can reach to Uttama Bhakti. So the reason of like all discussing about the Bhagavad Gita instructions starting from Karma Yoga is to see where we are in the process of bhakti. And next week hopefully we'll talk about different kinds of and the moods of bhaktas. That way we have complete realization of where we stand in this process of uttama bhakti. So I guess I'll stop here, and if anyone wants to do the Nama Sankirtan, I'm not sure if Badagiri joined, but not sure if Gokul Bhajan Ilobu wants to do it.
Krishna. Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Damodar Das, if you want to
Can
do
do
the
that.
Nama Sankirtan.
Can we do that? Can we chant?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, oh, Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Damodar Das. Sorry, we are not able to hear you.
Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Damodar Das. Thank you so much. We were like not able to hear completely because of the network issues. But I would conclude here, unless anyone has any questions, I can answer for you, or I can have Guruji answer. I can take those questions. But otherwise, if you don't, then we can conclude here.
Krishna, Mother.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Damodar Das.
Yeah, are you able to hear me? I have some little question.
Yes, Damodar Das.
Yeah, you mentioned three kind of bhakti when the Harikata was saying that. But the third bhakti, which is Swarupa Sita Bhakti, which is the pure bhakti. But the two bhakti you mentioned before the Swarupa Sita Bhakti, how can one use the two bhakti to get pure bhakti? Or it is possible for one to use the two bhakti to become pure bhakti?
So you said like Swarupa Siddha Bhakti is the pure Bhakti, and how the other two Bhaktis will help us to get to the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Is that what you're asking? Yes?
How can we be able to use the two bhakti to get the pure bhakti, the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti? It is possible to use the two bhakti. It is possible to use the two bhakti to get the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti.
So how is it possible to get the Swarupa Siddha Bhakti?
Yes, that's my question.
Okay. You know, it's as simple as Guruji always says, like complete Sharanagati, surrender to your lotus feet, to our Gurudev, to lotus feet of our Gurudev. Follow, as we said, like, 9 angas of bhakti, Shravana, Kirtana, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. And also I said like, Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir, Yata Deve Tata Guru. So we have to consider our Guru as Bhagavan Swarupa and then do all the seva, follow all the instructions, whatever you do. Once you are doing that seva, following Guru's order, without without a single thought of doing independently, obviously with the mercy, with 9 angas of bhakti, you will get Uttama Bhakti automatically. And this is a process. But all we can pray is the mercy of Guru. So Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bija. So first Guru's mercy needs to be there. And then if you consider doing the service to Guru is everything, that is all we need to get this Uttama Bhakti and reach Krishna, and doing seva of Krishna in the shape of Uttama Bhakti, like the people of Vraja in the shape of Vatsalya, Sakya and Madhurya. That answered your question, Damodar Das?
Yes. Thank you very much,
It's all the mercy of Guruji, but I will definitely put this again to Guruji, and then maybe he can give a better answer. If no questions, we'll conclude here. Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the assembled devotees. Thank you for listening to this Harikatha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
you.
Dandavat pranam,
Dandavat
Mataji.
pranams.